Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. It is now September and the temperature just started to cool down a little bit, so the plants are actually doing a lot better. So today I thought I'll show you around, and while I'm at it, I'm going to answer a few questions that people ask very often. And the first question is if I spray my garden to get rid of the pests and stuff like that. So the answer for that is I usually don't spray unless it's completely necessary. So for the most part, I don't spray with anything, and the plants are still looking good with very low pests problem. And the reason for that is you should create diversity in the garden. And what I mean by that is grow different plants, because different plants will attract different bugs. Some could be bad and some could be good. So in your garden, there is a war going on all the time that you don't see. So what that is for example, if there's caterpillars, I have wasps flying around that are eating these caterpillars. So you want to attract those bugs into your garden so that even if you're not working, these bugs are working for you. So I'll see if I can find a few of these wasps, and they're one of the most misunderstood bugs in the garden, in my opinion, because they do look very dangerous, and depending on what species they are, they're very beneficial. So I mean, you don't want yellow jackets in the garden, but you do want these other types of wasps, like the paper wasps. And let me see if I can catch some working so that you can see. Alright guys, so the wasps I'm talking about is these guys right here. You see, they're much different than the yellow jacket because they have very long legs and long torso. They're much skinnier as well. So these guys, they look pretty dangerous, but they're really harmless. They just fly around. Sometimes they fly at you, but really they're not trying to fly at you. You may just be in the way. And so these guys are like really great hunters, and they will scout the entire area to find caterpillars. So if you grow lettuce, which I do have, these guys will come around because lettuce will have cabbage loopers and all that stuff, and these guys love eating them. Sometimes they even eat hornworms, the small ones. So if they can find it, they'll just eat it. If you see a few worms in the garden, don't kill them all, just let them be. But if you see an infestation, of course, you have to treat it. But as I mentioned, if there's just a few worms, don't worry about it. These guys will take care of them. And their nest is somewhere around, so don't disturb them. Create a nice environment, as always, and then they'll come and visit. So, as I mentioned, I don't spray pests in my garden. All of these are just I just let them be. I just give them water when they need it, fertilizer when they need it. So on the topic of fertilizer, don't overuse fertilizer, because what it does is it creates an environment for bad bugs to get in. Like I noticed that if I use a lot of high nitrogen fertilizer, then I'll get a lot of aphids. But if I keep it nice and balanced, just fertilize when the plants need it, and then if you use worm casting and all those organic stuff like that, it's very nicely balanced, and they will not have problems like aphids. So for the past few seasons, that's what I have observed. I can't confirm that it's true, but that's just what I noticed. If I keep my garden balanced with the correct amount of fertilizer, reduce the amount of nitrogen, and don't overfeed your plant, they'll look healthy, nice and green, and pest free. And here is another wasp in action. It just likes to hang around the garden, flying around, and when it's really hot, sometimes they land under the plant and just rest there, and they just scour the garden looking for bugs to eat. So if you see these guys, just leave them alone. Don't disturb them. Just let them do their work. So these are the workers that will be at work while you're not working, protecting your garden from pests and stuff like that. Okay, and another type of bugs that I often see in my garden is the soldier flies here. And soldier flies are very beneficial bug, and the reason for that is they'll lay eggs in your compost or any decayed matter, and then the larvae will eat the composted material. They don't eat plants, they just eat the dead stuff, and they'll help break it down. And then what they do is they'll turn into these flies here, and the flies will land into your garden, like on leaves and stuff like that. And then my lizard, I have a ton of little geckos, I think they're called anoles, and they'll come in and eat these bugs. But the anoles also eat caterpillars and anything that it finds, and sometimes they even eat like honeybees. So you just have to let them do whatever they want to do. So with the anoles, what they do is they'll land onto your plants or your whatever you're growing, and they'll scout around, they'll stay there, and they'll eat anything that they find. So if they find caterpillars, they'll eat it, and then if they find bugs, they'll also eat it. And then they love eating these guys because there's plenty of those once they hatch, and then they're just all over the garden. So that's food for the anoles, which is a good animal to have in your garden. Alright guys, and here is my other buddy hanging out. So some of these lizards have two tails, which is very, very strange. I've seen this many times in my garden, and I think what happens is that they got into a fight or something like that, and then their tail broke off, and it didn't break off all the way, and then they grow a new tail. So you see that? The one that's kind of like sideways, that's probably the one that was broken, but it didn't fall off. So a new tail grows in its place, and now it has like a forked tail. So it's really strange. These guys run around with like two tails showing. So they like to hang out on my plants like this, eating the bugs and all that stuff. So these are really neat lizards, and I love having them around. I like to just get real up close to them, and then they'll stare back at you, and they won't move unless you get really close, or they think that you're gonna try to pick them up. So yeah, that is a great animal or lizard to have in the garden. Okay, and another plant that I just started growing this year is the bitter melon. And bitter melon produce lots and lots of flowers right here, like these here. And honeybees come and visit all the time because there's so many flowers. So you should grow flowering plants because that will attract honeybees, other bees, and it's just great for your garden. So there I have a wasp right there just flying around. But flowering plants are great. So you want to grow a good amount of flowers in your garden, and then that will attract some of the good bugs. And the good bugs like bees also help pollinate your plants. So if you have fruit trees and stuff like that that require pollination, then you do want to attract those bees into your garden. So speaking of flowers to attract beneficial bugs into your garden, many gardeners may not have space to grow flowers and stuff like that. So if you don't have space to grow flowers, there's other plants that you can grow that would do the same. And one of the best one is to grow basil. Basils are very fast growing plants, and they produce lots of flowers, and the bees love these flowers. And you can do Thai basil, which is a great variety to grow because you can use the leaves, it's great, as well as you can grow the flowers for the bees. So every season I would propagate a ton of basil. See, these are the Thai basil here, so eventually they would develop very beautiful purple flowers, lots of them, and then the bees will love them. So for these here, I've been pinching the flowers off because I want it to grow a little bit bigger before I let them flowers. So usually what I do is I'll grow one bush for use, and the one bush for use is where I pinch off all of the flowers, and that would help the basil grow nice and large, and it tastes better. So pinch the buds off, and then you will have huge basil plants. And if you don't, then they will produce flowers. And as I mentioned, because they produce flowers so fast, you should grow 2 bushes, one for the bees and one for yourself. So here I have sweet basil. And again, you see these here? These are flowering buds here, and eventually this will turn into flowers that would attract the bees. So I will leave this to flower, and that would be for attracting the bees. You can also grow shiso. Shiso is another type of herb that would produce a ton of flowers that the bees will also like. You see here, they're starting to become flowers here. And when they become like this, all bunched together, and at the tip, these are the flowers. And so here, my basil, I also allow these to flower. So you see there's some spider right there. So speaking of spiders, spiders is another beneficial insect that you should leave around your garden, because they will eat flying bugs and other bugs. So they're really cool to have. So if you see them, just leave them alone and just allow them to stay on your plant. They won't do anything to your plant. They'll just eat other bugs, whatever they can trap. So I've seen these jumping spiders that would also eat cabbage worms and stuff like that. So the jumping spiders, I think they're called wolf spiders. I'm not sure, but those are really nice. They're much larger and they're fast too. So if you see those guys, just let them be and allow them to do whatever they're going to do in the garden. Alright guys, so that is the few things I'd like to share with you that I've been doing for my garden, and it has been helping a lot to keep the garden pest free, and also to attract some of the beneficial insects to the garden. So I'll go ahead and go around, show you a few plants that I have going quickly, and you can see how nice the garden looks this time of the year. So I grow a lot of peppers and a lot of herbs. So these are all peppers. A shiso over there, those are beautiful. They're purple, and I have multiple varieties. These are the ones that are purple on top and bottom. And then I have some over there. And you should also grow some comfrey if you have space, because those things will grow like crazy. They're very hard to kill. They're one of the plants that they're impossible to kill. Even if you chop the plant down, the bulb at the bottom will grow right back. And if you chop the bulb in half, then you have 2 plants. So those are the great plants that I use the leaves for fertilizer. So I just chop the leaves off sometimes, shred it up, and just bury it. And that is the original comfrey right there that I got a little bulb, and then that's where I grew the other one that I just showed you. So look how big they are. They're very healthy, and they grow easily in heat. It will overwinter and grow next year as well. So if you need a good source of fertilizer for your plant, grow some comfrey and use the leaves. So here's some more peppers. I have bitter melons. Those are great. Produce a ton of flowers for my bees. And then I have melons. These are honey-kissed melons. And they're great summer fruits because they produce beautiful, large-sized melons that are super sweet and refreshing. And then I see more peppers. And these are sun jewel melons, and I picked about 5 this year already. So I'll show you the fruits. See, these are sun jewel right here. They ripen up to like a bright orange color with stripes. See, these are the baby ones. And then I have herbs here. These are Peperomia. They're amazing herbs. So these are seeds that dropped last year, so that they're volunteer. I just let them grow in the grass, and those plants actually help the soil soften up. Really cool. So if you have rough soil, you can plant these, but you have to give it a lot of water because it likes a lot of moisture. And then the area around where it's growing, the soil will soften up. And here, you see there's a lizard right there. That is those friends of mine in the garden, the gecko or no, I have a lot of them in the garden. They change color. They're really cool. If you see them jump onto a plant, they'll change to green. So if they go into the walls or something like that, they'll turn a darker color. So next to them are some more Peperomia. These are amazing. As I mentioned, I love them in salads. They're like succulent plants. They love moisture, and also they grow in the shade. So here's my wall here, and there's my peppers over there. That's giving this space a good amount of shades, and then they grow like crazy over there. They're very beautiful, and they can multiply on their own. So if you have one plant, they'll start jumping around, and then if they drop seeds, the seeds will overwinter, and next year you have a ton more. So here I have more peppers. These are Celtis. They're gone to seed now, but Celtis are also called stem lettuce. So you can eat the stems. They're very nice. Stir fries the best, and I'm letting them go to seed so I can get more for next season. And there are more geckos over there, these little baby ones here. Let me show you. See, he's in there just hiding. I have a lot of those too. They love to stand on top of the leaves, and then they just eat bugs that they can catch. See, I have fruit trees here, persimmons. I'm also growing beets. Man, these beets are starting to be pretty big. See those bulbs down there? And that one too. And these are arugula. I'm starting soon because the season's cooling down. They grow best when it's cooler. So I'll drop more seeds soon. These are all my beautiful peppers right here. And those are Shiso again, but these are the ones that are a little different. And this one here has green leaves on top, and then you turn it over, it's purple. Look at how beautiful they are. They grow very, very nice in organic compost. So just give them some nice, decent feeding of organic compost and worm casting, and they will produce a ton of leaves. And I cut these back like half. I cut the plant, all the leaves are here to use, and look at this. They grow right back. Look how full they are. They're very beautiful. And here I have some more Shiso. These are the Japanese Shiso. Look how beautiful these are as well. So they have these serrated leaves, and then you see these in Japanese sushi restaurants. They'll use this to divide like sashimis and stuff like that. So these are also great to grow. They're very beautiful. You see, they're the same thing as the other one. They love organic compost, so feed them nicely, and they'll grow and produce a ton of leaves. And then I have some more melons here. These are the hammy. Look how big. See, that's my friend lizard right there. They're very tame, so you can get really close to them and they'll be fine. So I have a ton of them. They're all over the garden. Alright, next I have a raised bed full of herbs. I have Shiso and these other green Shiso. Got some sweet basil, some other purple Shiso. These are sage and rosemary. And then I also have Cuban oregano. See those beautiful colors right there? These are I overwinter this indoors by cutting a piece, and then I let it root, and then grow it outside in the spring. So every day when I come out here, I would just rub these herbs, and it smells so nice. I mean, this is one of the reasons why I love coming out in the garden, because these smells amazing, especially the Cuban oregano. I love the way those smell. Alright, and here I have some more herbs here. These are sage, and this is one of my beautiful cross right there. Some more herbs over there. I got a lime tree right here, and some more lime. And then I have a pear tree which I'm growing in pots. I'm testing this pot versus the ground, and plants that are in the ground are doing a lot better. And I mentioned that I grow lettuce as well, and these are basically for to attract like those cabbage worms. I kind of separate them, and then the wasp will come and eat the worms, and then they'll also go around and hang out in my garden. And these are jicama, so these should be ready in a few months. Those takes forever to grow. And then here I have some aloe and some ornamental plants right there. These vines, they're beautiful. And all of these here were grown from one single branch that I cut. And I overwintered it indoor, and I brought it out here, and now they're multiplying like crazy. So if you want more of these, all you have to do is cut a piece, put it in water, it'll root, and then you will place it in a pot or something, and then they'll grow all over the place. I have a video on how to propagate this, so I'll link you if I can find it. And then here, my Jabuticaba tree, and this is a tropical tree, so as you notice, I left it in the shade because the sun in Texas right now is just too much for this plant. You see how it burns right here? So it needs tropical condition, but not extreme heat in the triple digits. Alright, next I have some more Shiso and my pear tree, and this owl here has been keeping the birds off of my plants, because we had fruits before and the birds keep eating it. So once I placed the owl there, that kind of deterred them. I haven't seen birds around here. I can't confirm that it worked, but I don't see birds in the yard anymore, so that's a good thing for me. Alright, so lastly I have some more melons. That's a honey kiss melon over here. It's almost ready. And this was an arugula bed, and now new arugula is coming. See here? It's growing in its place because a lot of seeds dropped. And then these are my watermelons. And watermelons also produce a lot of flowers as well, and then the bees usually come around and hang out over here. And here is my watermelon. This is the black diamond watermelon, so I should be harvesting this sometimes this week, because see, the tendril is all dried up, so the watermelon is ready. So that is it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the tour and a few tips that I shared. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave it below, and thank you so much for watching.